God says, "The clouds above your head are trembling, and heaven itself leaned down today." Someone in heaven broke God's divine order, just to protect you. And now, Archangel Michael is crying, not out of weakness, but because he knows this may be the final time you will hear from him in this way. The light that surrounds you is flickering, and your soul is standing at a divine crossroad where time and eternity meet. You must understand the depth of what is happening in the spirit realm for you. This is not ordinary. This is not casual. This is not a story meant for another. This is about you. Heaven is watching your response now. There was a decree in heaven, unchangeable, sealed, and final. But when your name echoed in the high courts of heaven, something unspeakable happened. A soul that has already crossed over, one who watches you with love more eternal than time, broke a heavenly command. A rule that was never supposed to be touched. This soul stepped forward and pleaded for your life. This soul wept at the feet of the Most High, saying, "Please, not them. Not yet. They haven't been told the truth. They haven't been shown the full light. Give them another chance, Father. Please, let someone warn them." This is that warning. The skies cracked open. A trumpet that was not scheduled to sound until your appointed day of awakening echoed ahead of time. A voice said your name 3 times. Each time it thundered, something in the invisible realm shook. The angel assigned to your left, he who records every word you say, paused. The one on your right, your guardian since before you were born, stood in silence, hands trembling, heart echoing with the love they've felt for you across lifetimes. And Michael, yes, the mighty archangel himself, took his sword and drove it into the soil of heaven and declared, "Enough." Michael spoke, "If they don't hear me now, I will leave them. I love them, but my voice cannot echo in vain any longer. I have fought for them since the day they were born. I have shielded them from attacks they never knew existed. I have stood between them and the grave more than once. I have intercepted betrayal. I have exposed liars in their life. I have brought blessings that were meant for others and redirected them to this child. But if they ignore me this time, I will weep once, and I will go." And that's why the sky today feels different. Why your heart is trembling in a way you can't explain. Why your breath caught for a second when you read these words. Because heaven is watching your response right now. The one who loved you beyond the grave has paid a heavenly price to make this moment happen. There is no going back after this. This is the spiritual point of no return. God says, "I gave you signs in your dreams. I whispered your name through birds. I showed you patterns in numbers. I closed doors that would have destroyed you. I delayed things you begged for, not because I didn't want to give them to you, but because your soul wasn't ready. I sent people into your life as tests, some as blessings, some as distractions, and some as mirrors of your own inner truth. And now I stand again before you, through this message. And I am asking, one last time, will you wake up? Someone tried to destroy you behind your back. You felt it in your spirit, but you brushed it off. They used charm as camouflage, but heaven saw the poison in their intentions. Archangel Michael stood over your bed last night, watching the tears you didn't shed out loud. You held back because you thought you had to be strong. But heaven doesn't need your strength, it needs your surrender. God says, you have forgotten who you are. You are not a mistake. You are not alone. You are not cursed. You are not forsaken. You are not abandoned. You are not invisible to me. You were handwoven by angels. You carry the seal of heaven on your spirit. And if only you saw yourself as we see you, you would never allow another lie to shape your worth. Michael says, your enemies are active. They speak sweetly in your presence, but when you are not looking, they place your name into rooms of destruction. Their eyes are like still water, but the venom they speak could kill. I have stood between their curses and your destiny again and again, but I can only shield what you allow me to. If you open the wrong door willingly, not even I can close it without your permission. That is how serious this is. Someone in your bloodline tried to speak a word curse over you. They believed their jealousy would be masked by tradition. They thought heaven would not expose it. But I, the Lord your God, I see all. I know all. And I record all. Your destiny cannot be stolen. But it can be delayed, if you trust the wrong spirit. And some of the people you are trusting are wearing masks. God says, I sent Michael because you are out of time. The hourglass is almost empty. There is an offer that will be made to you soon. It will look good, feel good, even sound like a blessing. But it will be a trap. And if you say yes to it, you will be stepping into a pit lined with gold. It will not break you instantly, it will do worse. It will distract you slowly, lull you gently, and then bind you silently. And by the time you realize, it will take spiritual surgery to pull you out. That is why this warning is so urgent. The person who broke the heavenly order for you, do you want to know who they are? They are someone who loved you so deeply when they walked the earth that even in death, their bond could not be silenced. They have stood in silence for so long, watching you suffer, praying God would intervene. But when the time came, they did what was forbidden. They touched the heavenly scroll bearing your name. They cried and begged God to allow them to break protocol. And in rare mercy, the Most High allowed this one act of rebellion. Why? Because your life carries divine weight. God says, you are carrying a divine seed inside you. That seed must be born in this lifetime. If it is not, the next 7 generations of your bloodline will suffer. This is not about your comfort. This is about legacy, about calling, about nations inside your voice, about healing encoded in your presence, about divine justice flowing through your obedience. That is why this is urgent. Michael is crying, not just for your pain, but because he knows what you were created for. He sees the blueprint. He saw it the day you were born. The enemy tried to kill you when you were young because they saw it too. That's why strange accidents happened. That's why people tried to silence your voice, crush your confidence, attack your health, and destroy your spirit. You were marked early, because darkness fears you. You are a chosen one. God says, the enemy saw your light before you did. But I did not leave you. I whispered through the chaos. I stayed when everyone left. I touched your heart when it broke. I held you through nightmares. I was the unexplained peace after the pain. I was the strength in your silence. And now I come as the voice that can no longer be ignored. Heaven says, this is not a time for hesitation. You are being watched, not just by angels, but by spirits of deception. They are circling you, looking for a weak point. If you delay in obedience, they will take that moment as permission to strike. But if you rise now, in faith, in trust, in prayer, you will activate a miracle so large it will make even your enemies bow. Michael says, your tears have been counted. Your sighs have been recorded. Your battles are not forgotten. I have been with you even when you didn't know my name. I fought for you in silence. But now I cry openly, because if you don't receive this message, if you delay, I must step back. I will never stop loving you, but I cannot walk where I am not welcomed. God says, this is your moment. Destiny is knocking. Heaven is watching. Michael is waiting. The one who broke the order for you is praying you will listen. Will you ignore this? Or will you rise? There is gold hidden beneath your current suffering. You were never meant to die in this pain. You were meant to be refined through it. The suffering was not the ending, it was the preparation for a crown. But you must not quit here. Not now. Not at the doorway of everything I promised you. I see the way you question your worth. The way you compare yourself to others. The way you wonder if anything will ever change. But I am not like man, I do not lie. My promises are not broken. I have not changed my mind about you. I never did. You are still chosen. You are still my child. And I still have plans for you. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Your future is being written right now by how you respond. Heaven does not force itself on you. Heaven offers. You choose. And now, all of heaven leans down, watching. The angels wait. Michael waits. The one who broke the order, your sole guardian from heaven, watches with trembling breath. God Himself watches with eyes of fire and mercy. What will you do? This may be the last time Michael reaches out this way. Choose wisely. The next miracle is tied to your response. Heaven is watching. God says, listen now, because this message was not meant to be released so soon, but heaven had no choice. There was a divine order, an ancient seal, meant to be kept until the appointed time, but someone broke it. Someone in heaven could not bear to watch what was about to happen to you. Someone who once walked the earth, who now walks in light, shattered a heavenly law, because your soul was weeping louder than the laws could contain. And God saw it all. This is not a mistake. You were meant to read this now, not a second later. Even as your hands tremble or your heart doubts, heaven has already seen your reaction. Michael is standing by, sword lowered, wings trembling, and for the first time in centuries, he has cried. Not because he is weak, but because your silence hurt more than battle. Because you kept turning away. Because you kept pretending you didn't feel the pull in your chest. But heaven did. You don't know what was almost done to you. But someone in heaven does. Someone who knew the weight of divine law, yet chose to break it, chose to shatter the angelic boundary, just for you. And now the scroll is open. The light is pouring through it. And this message, the one you're reading now, was never supposed to come. But it did. And that alone is a sign you must not ignore. There are places in heaven where silence lives. Rooms filled with quiet obedience, glowing with the order of God. But one soul ran into the hall of decrees, barefoot, breathless, eyes full of your name. And that soul begged. That soul said your name aloud, in front of the elders of light. That soul broke the silence. And now it's too late to turn back. Michael looked upon them, trembling. You are not allowed to do this, he said. You know what law you are breaking. But they did it anyway. Because you were worth it. Because your time on earth was close to danger. Because your heart was under siege and your future was being whispered about in places it should never have been spoken. Because you were being followed, not by footsteps, but by thoughts. Not by enemies outside, but by shadows inside. So now you must hear it all. You must understand what has been exposed. God says, you were chosen long before you believed. You are not average. You are not forgotten. You were formed in fire, kissed by purpose. You were hidden for a while, hidden by divine hand, not overlooked. Do not mistake hiddenness for rejection. You were not being ignored, you were being protected. Because there were people around you who did not deserve access to your gift. And some of them still don't. Someone tried to mark your destiny for destruction. They whispered about you, cursed you in ways they didn't even understand. And heaven heard. That's why Archangel Michael was sent to you. He stood between you and the moment of collapse. He fought when you didn't even know there was a war. And yet, you still doubted him. You still ignored the signs. He watched you struggle. He watched you weep quietly in rooms where you smiled publicly. He stood at the door you closed and waited. He hovered over the text you deleted and the prayer you never said. And still, he stayed. Still, he guarded. Until last night, when he cried. Loudly. And heaven heard the sound. That was when it happened. The soul who loves you, the one who left this world too soon, the one who still whispers to God on your behalf, that soul rushed forward. They cried too. And they broke the seal. They opened the scroll of forbidden time. They defied the silence and screamed your name to the clouds. Send the message, they begged. Now. Before it's too late. And so, it has come. This is no ordinary moment. This is not just another message on a screen. This is sacred. This is time bending, laws breaking, heaven crying, all for you. You must not turn away. You must not doubt what you're feeling right now. Because that tug in your soul, that burning in your chest, that's not emotion. That's memory. The memory of your divine self. The one who remembers who you really are. God says, your life has been under surveillance, not by cameras, but by spiritual eyes. You thought you were alone in the nights you screamed into pillows, but heaven was there. You thought no one saw when you almost gave up, but the angels did. And each time you chose to stay, to breathe, to walk forward, they celebrated silently. But now, silence isn't enough. Now, heaven is speaking. There's something you must know. There's a woman. A powerful one. She's connected to you spiritually, but not by truth. She carries an object that belongs to you, not a thing, but a truth. She knows what was done. She knows who tried to delay your inheritance. She has walked through churches, through rituals, through rooms with your name whispered in envy. She knows the path that was meant for you. And she tried to take it. But God stopped her. Still, her presence lingers. She smiles at you in dreams. She sends thoughts into your atmosphere. And sometimes, when you feel tired for no reason, it's because she has sent something. But she cannot override what God has now spoken. She cannot undo what this message has now exposed. You are reclaiming your light, and heaven is watching your every move. Michael is holding the divine blade of revelation. He will cut through the fog of confusion you've been living under. But you must act. You must respond. And your response is not with words, it is with awakening. Do not go back to what God rescued you from. Do not open the door you begged Him to close. Do not entertain the call from the one who once drained your spirit. This is the season of holy refusal. And if you honor the tug, if you obey the whisper, heaven will honor you back. Suddenly. Swiftly. Without delay. God says, you have 3 days. Not for fear, but for fulfillment. Something will shift. You will know it. A message. A moment. A memory returned. A conversation overheard. A sudden dream that refuses to leave. Pay attention. Don't just scroll past this moment and forget it. Seal it into your spirit. Because in 3 days, the person who tried to stop your destiny will be exposed, not by you, but by God Himself. And then comes the restoration. God has not forgotten the years you lost. He has not ignored the prayers you whispered with shaking lips. He has seen it all, even the things you couldn't speak. And now, He is responding. Through the terror of a heavenly angel. Through the defiance of a soul in paradise. Through the trembling sword of Michael. Through this very message. There's something else. The soul who broke heaven's order for you, they are close. They have been watching you for a long time. They walk with you when you feel nothing. They are the one behind that sudden peace. That urge to check your phone. That near car accident that didn't happen. That eerie calm in moments of storm. They are your whisperer. And they are waiting for you to feel them again. Say their name. Say it out loud. Now. Because when you do, heaven will echo it. A miracle will begin its descent. A key will turn. A gate will open. And the thing that was blocked, your money, your love, your recognition, your calling, will begin to flow again. It was never lost. It was only paused. Waiting for this very moment. God says, your heart has been tested. The people you love did not always love you rightly. Some used you, some left you, some watched you fall without reaching. But now, new hands are being sent. Divine connections. Appointed alliances. And one unexpected person, someone of great influence, has already heard about you. Soon, they will contact you. And when they do, your life will no longer look the same. But do not ignore this message. This message carries weight. It is not flattery. It is fire. It is prophecy. It is intervention from beyond the veil. Someone in heaven moved to save you. Do not betray that sacrifice with indifference. Michael is weeping still. Not because he's lost, but because he's hopeful. Because this may be the final time he reaches like this. Because his wings are tired. Because the battle has gone on too long. Because your silence was louder than your prayers. And still, he hopes. Still, he waits. You are being called back to your origin. To the self that knew God before the world taught you fear. To the power that lives inside your voice, your touch, your presence. It's time to rise into your light. You must speak to God tonight. No ritual. No drama. Just honesty. Sit with Him. Whisper if you must. But say something. Even if it's only, I'm here. Because the one in heaven who broke the law for you, they're watching. They need to know you received it. That their defiance was not in vain. Michael is watching too. One final time. Heaven awaits your response. Don't be silent. God says to you, in a voice filled with trembling love and urgency, someone in heaven broke my sacred order just to save you. This is not something that happens lightly. It was a divine rule, one that no soul has broken in generations. But this time, for you, the heavens moved. The rules bent. The silence shattered. The light that holds the veil between eternity and time opened just wide enough for a cry to pass through, and that cry came from Michael. Heaven is trembling. The winds of the Spirit are restless. Archangel Michael has descended more than once to shield you, fight for you, protect you in ways you will never fully comprehend. But now, something rare, sacred, and deeply painful has occurred. A message that was never meant to be spoken was released. And it was released for you. Michael is weeping. Not because he doubts you. Not because he has given up on you. But because this may be the last time he is allowed to reach you in this way. He stood at the gates of God's holy chamber and cried out, "Let me speak once more. Let me warn them. Let me wrap them in wings of light, for darkness is closer than they realize." Heaven watched in silence as Michael's tears fell like fire. The throne of God shook not with anger, but with grief. The other angels stepped aside, for they knew what this meant, that you are under spiritual attack so deep, so orchestrated, that only a divine breaking of protocol could release a saving light in time. Someone in heaven, someone who once walked beside you, a soul that loves you fiercely, beyond time, beyond flesh, could not bear the silence anymore. They were told to remain still, to trust the process, to watch without interfering. But they broke the rule. They left a trace. They whispered your name through divine winds and gave the signal. God permitted it not out of leniency, but out of love for you. Because you've been walking through fire. You've been silently wounded by betrayals. You've prayed, but sometimes you've wondered if your words hit the sky and fall right back to the ground. You've smiled while your heart trembled. You've given to others what no one gave to you. You've loved with the kind of purity heaven itself treasures. And now, because of all this, a spiritual shift has been authorized. Listen closely, this isn't just a message, it's a lifeline. You've been feeling something shifting, strange dreams, sudden tears, feelings of being watched or protected, chills when no wind blew. That's not coincidence. That's not imagination. That is Archangel Michael's presence. He has been circling you, sword unsheathed, not because you are weak, but because your calling is enormous. You are not just anyone. You are marked by destiny. And every force of darkness that sees your light has been plotting. But this message has arrived to interrupt their plan. There was a moment, not long ago, where your name was whispered in a meeting of spiritual forces. A decision was nearly made that would have caused delays, heartbreak, and despair. But in that very moment, someone in heaven cried out, your mother, perhaps. Or your grandmother. Or someone who once loved you in this life and now watches you every day from a higher realm. They broke the heavenly law of silence. They begged God, let them know. Let them see. Let them feel it now, before it's too late. And in divine mercy, God allowed this message to pass. You are not alone. The enemy wanted you to feel abandoned. To believe no one hears you. To think all your kindness was wasted. But the truth is, heaven has been watching every tear you've ever cried. Every night you didn't sleep, every time you stood back up when everything tried to break you, heaven saw. And now, Archangel Michael has been sent with a final urgent cry. He is near you even now. His wings stretch wider than your imagination. His heart is filled with fire and compassion for you. But he cannot help unless you respond. Heaven is watching not because they're testing you, but because they want to see if your heart still has the strength to believe. God says, you are not cursed. You are not forgotten. But you must respond now. Time is bending. Choices are aligning. Someone you trust is not who they say they are. A person who appears helpful is hiding a truth. You've sensed it. You've brushed it off. But your instincts were not wrong. You were being warned. That's why this message had to come. That's why someone in heaven risked everything to get this to you. You felt tired for no reason. You've started something new but felt blocked. You've helped people, only to be left empty. These are signs of spiritual warfare. Not in the movies. Not in fantasy. In real life. In your life. But God says, I am intervening. The light is about to break through. But you must not miss the moment. You must not ignore this. You must open your heart completely, right now. No delay. No hesitation. Speak to God. You don't need fancy words. Just truth. Just raw honesty. Just say, Father, I hear you. I trust you. Even if I'm scared. Even if I'm tired. I say yes. Because when you say yes, doors start unlocking. The chains that have held back blessings will begin to fall. The people who have mocked you will be silenced. The ones who tried to curse you will watch you rise. The ones who lied about you will be exposed. God is not playing with your destiny. He has kept it guarded. But now He wants you to rise into it. You've seen others get what you prayed for, and wondered if you were forgotten. But you weren't. You were being preserved. The longer wait was because the blessing coming for you is too massive to be rushed. Michael is crying because he knows what's at stake. He has seen what is written in your book of life. He knows the glory that awaits you, but he also knows the trap set to derail it. That's why this message is urgent. Someone in your circle is carrying double energy. They smile, but they envy. They help, but they watch with judgment. They say, I'm happy for you, but something in their tone is off. Trust that feeling. It's divine discernment. God is revealing, not to make you bitter, but to make you aware. You are stepping into a time where everything hidden will be shown. The people who left you will regret it. The ones who rejected you will try to return. But you will walk in clarity. No more fog. No more confusion. But first, respond. Say yes to God. Not just with words, but with faith. With action. Speak to Him tonight. Give Him your fears, your pain, your secrets. He already knows them. But the moment you open up, the spiritual court of heaven moves. Your finances will shift. Your relationships will align. Your mental clarity will return. Your strength will grow. Because when heaven speaks and you answer, miracles happen. Someone in heaven broke God's order for you. Do not take that lightly. That soul risked their place to bring you one last message. And Michael has not stopped crying because his love for you runs deep, not as a god, but as a protector. As a warrior assigned by the Most High to guard your destiny. He can only do so much if you turn away. But if you say yes, if you open your soul now, if you let go of fear and choose faith, you will rise. You were never forgotten. You were being saved for something divine. Heaven is watching. This is your moment. Say yes. Someone in heaven broke God's order, just to save you. That sentence alone carries the weight of entire galaxies collapsing into divine silence. And now, as you open this message, heaven is watching, not with anger, not with judgment, but with trembling hope, as if all eternity is holding its breath, waiting to see how you respond to something that was never meant to be allowed, but was permitted anyway, just for you. God says, you were not supposed to see this yet. But someone who loved you deeply, who now sits on the other side of the veil, could not bear your suffering a moment longer. They stepped beyond the boundary, against the protocol of divine order, just to make sure this message reaches you before it's too late. Michael is crying. Yes, Archangel Michael, the warrior of heaven, the protector of God's people, the commander of celestial hosts, is weeping right now. Because he's been guarding you longer than you know. He has fought off shadows in silence. He has whispered into your sleepless nights. He has cried when you blamed yourself for things that were never your fault. And now he fears that you are just moments away from walking into something that you cannot return from. You see, this isn't just a message. It's a spiritual emergency. God says, you were chosen. Not by accident. Not randomly. But deliberately, lovingly, precisely. Every strand of hair on your head has been counted. Every sigh you released in the dark has echoed through heaven. Every tear you wiped when no one was watching was noted in divine ink. And now, your situation has reached a spiritual tipping point. There was a limit set. A timeline. A spiritual schedule laid out by God's own hand. But someone, your mother, your grandfather, an ancestor, a soul connected to your bloodline, saw what was happening to you and they couldn't bear it. They bent the rule. They broke the divine timeline. They whispered to Michael, do something now, before it's too late. And Michael answered. This is why you feel like something invisible is happening around you. This is why your dreams have been strange. Why you keep seeing repeating numbers. Why you feel someone's presence in your room. Why you suddenly feel like crying without knowing why. It is not coincidence, it's contact. God says, there is a plot forming around you. There are people who are smiling at you while secretly sabotaging what I am building in your life. Someone you trust is keeping a secret that could destroy you if it is not exposed in time. And time is running out. You were meant to receive this revelation in 3 months. That was the plan. But now, heaven has accelerated it. Because the enemy of your destiny is moving faster than expected. They are making a move in silence. One more mistake, one more misplaced trust, and you could fall into a trap that may delay your purpose by years. This is why Archangel Michael is crying. Because he has seen the future. He has stood in your tomorrow. He has watched the moment you find out the betrayal and scream in heartbreak. And he is desperate to stop it. Desperate to prevent you from walking into the arms of someone who is wearing a disguise of love but holding a blade behind their back. God says, this person who loves you in heaven, this person who broke divine order, was someone who once made a promise to you when they were alive. They said they would always protect you. And they meant it. Death couldn't stop them. Distance couldn't silence them. They have been watching, praying, crying for God to send intervention. And today is that day. But God needs your cooperation. Heaven needs your yes. Not just in words, but in faith. That you will trust the warning. That you will stay still when your emotions scream for action. That you will pray even when your heart feels numb. That you will believe, even when your mind is filled with fear. There is something you were supposed to find. A message. A key. A truth that's been hidden in plain sight. God says it's connected to a name you keep hearing. A place you've been feeling drawn to. A memory that won't stop resurfacing. Follow that thread. Don't dismiss the small signs. They are not meaningless. They are pieces of a divine code heaven is trying to deliver before your next decision. There are two people watching you right now spiritually, one in heaven and one pretending on earth. One is weeping with hope that you'll listen. The other is watching with fear that you will find out what they've done. God says, someone has tried to silence your voice. They wanted to dull your light. They were afraid of your truth. And so they made you feel small. Invisible. Unworthy. But I tell you now, heaven does not agree with their words. I do not endorse their actions. And the one who tried to bury you is about to see you bloom. That person in heaven, they used to sing to you. Or maybe they used to hold your hand when you were scared. Or cook your favorite meal. Or speak life over your dreams when others laughed. That person has not left you. They are still fighting for you. Even now. Michael is preparing to speak to you directly. He will do it through a sign so undeniable that even your logic will bow. A name will be repeated 3 times. A stranger will say something that mirrors what's in your heart. A door will close unexpectedly, but it will be protection, not punishment. But you must promise this: do not return to what broke you. Do not answer the call that feels familiar but drains your soul. Do not open your heart to someone just because they apologize. There is a manipulator close to you. a person with charming words but dangerous intentions. And heaven has seen it all. God says, you are not alone in this battle. Michael has never left your side. But you have to stop doubting yourself. You have to stop calling yourself names I never gave you. You have to stop waiting for others to approve what I have already confirmed within you. This is your turning point. The one your soul came to earth for. The one your spiritual lineage has prayed you would choose rightly. The one that opens the floodgates of favor and alignment. But it all depends on one thing, your response. Heaven is watching, not with judgment, but with anticipation. With a kind of holy nervousness. Because this may be the last time Michael reaches out this way. The window is closing. The order was already broken once. Heaven cannot allow it again without consequence. You must act now. Listen now. Obey now. You are safer than you know. Protected more than you feel. But you are also more powerful than you realize. And the time has come to rise. To cut the soul ties that keep dragging you into old pain. To stop excusing bad behavior. To believe that you deserve a life filled with divine truth, not emotional manipulation. God says, forgiveness does not mean access. You can love from a distance. You can release the past without returning to it. And you can protect your peace without feeling guilty. Because your destiny is too valuable to gamble with anymore. Michael says, you've been feeling like something big is about to happen, and you're right. But it's not just about you. Your healing will liberate others. Your truth will unlock generations. Your obedience will echo into eternity. That's why the enemy is afraid of you. That's why someone tried to silence your voice. But I, Michael, declare, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. So tonight, before you sleep, pray like heaven is listening. Because it is. Before you speak, ask your angels to guard your words. Before you forgive, ask God to show you who is truly repentant. Before you trust, ask for discernment. Before you walk back to someone who hurt you, remember why heaven stepped in to protect you in the first place. This is not just about today. This is about every tomorrow that depends on the choice you make now. Will you answer the divine warning? Will you trust the voice that broke eternity's protocol just to save you? They love you that much. Michael loves you that much. God loves you that much. And if you choose rightly, what is coming next